I quit. The guys behind the scenes were playing and I'm the joke. So we started 5 times. I said, welcome, 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 welcome. So welcome, welcome. This is real. I can tell it's real because there's a little light over there. They don't know that I know about that light, but I figured it out.
I quit.
All right. So anyway, welcome, welcome. We are excited tonight because we're going to do a whole fitting. 1350. Janie's jacket is our pattern of the month. Oh my goodness, you guys, listen. We had some just good things, but bad things happen. I mentioned it to you last time that we just had some issues. Doesn't matter what they are. So we had a delay. All the POMs were sent out. I wouldn't say to anybody they were going to ship if they didn't really ship. I won't lie to you guys ever, even if it's our fault, my fault, whatever. I'll just tell you I screwed up. But they did all ship out Friday morning. So you guys they should be hitting any day. So I'll kind of describe the pattern to you just so you know the basis, because I got an email and I know you all like to have the pattern before we have the webcast, and typically we do. And I really apologize because it's a big advantage to have something to work with. But once you get your pattern, you can refer back to all this and it'll walk in the park. The other day I realized that I said this like a lot. Like I said, this is like my favorite jacket pattern. I said that on probably every jacket pattern we have. Obviously I have to like them. I have to really, really like them, or I won't bring them in to the pattern line. I mean, I don't want just okay stuff. I want great stuff. And sometimes I've not been successful at that. But you guys know we have a lot of great patterns. We have a lot of great styles, and they're just, you know, observing everywhere and bringing them in. So 1350, just to give you the base, is a Chanel. So this is the base Chanel jacket, except that Chanel doesn't fit. It doesn't have any darting in the front. I mean, it's supposedly shaped and the darts are shaped into it, but I'm going to tell you, I put one on and I've got gapping, you know, if just for fun, y'all ought to go sometime, try on this base. Now this base Chanel jacket is just a square bottomed. It's a very square shaped jacket. Jackie Kennedy used to wear it. Lots of people have worn it over the years. It's meant to be a square boxy jacket, but when you take a square boxy jacket and put it on a female with, you know, bumps, especially if they're larger, it looks terrible. So what I did initially is I built in a princess seam, and the princess seam, in many of the occasions, you can't even see it. You cannot even see the princess seam. And so that will give you the help you need to fit it beautifully without, you know, sacrificing any of the styling. It typically has 2 breast pockets and 2 welt pockets. I did not put the breast pockets. You know, you could have added them on. This welt pocket, the reason I love is you will see it's sewn right into the, you don't have to know how to do a welt pocket. You can be a beginner sewer, which is what I love about this pattern, because to me there's no collar. You have to set in a sleeve, but it's just really easy sewing. There's no button in the front. You can just simply put a tie in the front. You could put a clasp. We have a lot of beautiful clasps that are perfect for this jacket. So I really feel like I want to start with fitting, because it's just a really, there's only a few things in all the jackets that I've fitted with this styling that I've had to do. So I know it will fit you well. Choose the right size. Choose it by, you know, measure a jacket that you like. That's the way to do it. Okay? So as we go through this, I want you to, first we're going to cover fit, and then we've got lots of fun things to show you with styling. Oh my goodness, the fun doesn't quit. It's just really been a lot of fun, and I want to share that with you. All right, so we're going to start with fitting, and I'm going to drape on the mannequin behind me, and we're going to pull up the pattern pieces. The pattern pieces are, I think I named a base. I think that I put that for a name. I'm just going to grab my pins. All right, and I'm going to drape on this particular, this is my muslin. Now when you make a muslin, just an FYI, you guys, I see a pin on the floor and I don't want to step on it. When you do a muslin, you want to sew on these black pieces, because these pieces are part of the front. So as we look through different style options, I'll talk about those black pieces, but you want to sew the black pieces on for the muslin. I would also sew on this around the neck, because otherwise it's a part of it and you might think, oh, it's just too wide, I don't like it. It's styling, but I would still sew them on. So do the front, the side front. The side front has a welt pocket in it. Don't do the welt pocket, obviously. Overlap the bottom side and the top side and just cut them as one. So that's what I would recommend you do on the side here. Don't do the pocket. And then don't do the sleeve, obviously. If you've got a jacket sleeve, you're just going to use the same jacket sleeve you have. If you haven't done a jacket sleeve yet, we'll do the sleeve. But other than that, you're just going to do the front, the side front, the back, and the side back. Okay? All right, beautifully done. You can see in this fabric, you can't even see the seams. So those princess seams are not ever going to get in your way, and they're really going to help you when it comes to fitting, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so those 4 pieces, throw them together in something that's stable. Now, I took and did this in knits of all different kinds, and we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the differences, but for right now, you can make it up. I would make it up in just a woven, something that's stable. I cut it from 95, oh, that's not, whoops, sorry. They're communicating, and I thought that was a question, sorry. Okay, so let me tell you what I've typically, first off, when you go to do a jacket, don't do a jacket, don't try on a jacket without shoulder pads, especially if it calls for shoulder pads. If you're not wanting to do shoulder pads, then you can take the angle of the shoulder and you can take it away. You have to redo the sleeve if you're going to do that. You have to reduce the cap height, or you have to come in with a blouse sleeve and a blouse template. You just got to think about that whole sleeve thing. I'm not going to touch on that right now. I want to go back. But when you try on a jacket, I'm going to assume that you're going to use a shoulder pad. You're going to use a shoulder pad that the pattern calls for, or whatever it is less. Automatically, if you're using a shoulder pad that is less than what the pattern's calling for, which in this case I believe is 1 inch, yeah, you're going to have to take it up right here at the shoulder edge and taper to nothing to the neckline edge. And so you'll want to do that. I would do that before you even start draping, because you know there's going to be a problem. No one has square shoulders that make up for 1/2 inch when I'm doing these patterns. It's just not going to happen. I've never seen it. Just from my experience, I've never seen it. Okay. Also in this pattern, what you'll notice is on the side seam, on the side panel, you have an option of a B cup, C cup, or D cup. Just choose whatever your cup size is that you wear, bra cup size. And what we know, without anybody getting too personal, is we know that many, many women wear the wrong cup size. And so the side effects that you get is just a little, and I purposely put this on the flattest chested mannequin I had so that you'd see, it's kind of just a wrinkling in through here. And I know it's hard to see in this particular fabric, but once I clean it up and draw it, you'll understand what to look for. And the beauty of the princess seam is I'm actually going to make a dart that, and I'm going to make it right at the side seam, and it will taper to nothing to the princess seam. And that's just going to take out all of this gap. I call it a 2-ended dart, and it's just really, really popular when we come to princess seams. And it's just showing you that the cup sizing you chose was not adequate for your bust. And I'm hoping you can see that and how much better that looks. And because something I want you to notice about this, when you have the wrong cup size, the extra bagginess, it doesn't go down to the bottom of the jacket. People always say, well, do I add that back into the bottom? Because if it went to the bottom, it probably wouldn't be as much as a problem. The fact of the matter is it just sits right there under the chest, and so it just looks terrible. So this is kind of like a 2-ended dart. After I do this, I'll draw it on our TV little thing, so you can kind of see exactly what I'm doing, so it comes across really clearly. Now, this little dart is your best secret weapon. It is your best secret weapon. This is not something I can do after the garment has been cut, so please don't say, oh, it'll work, I'm just going to do it. Because I've seen so many women, especially if you're larger busted, do this, and it's like a huge difference between before and after that dart. And it's just the wrong cup size. But even more so than that, it just gets it in the right place. So let's, the pattern, is the pattern lined? Yeah, the pattern is lined. The pattern has lining to it. All right, so can you pull up the base pieces, please? And we're going to take a look at what I just did, what I pinned in. I want you to see that. And can I draw on those, Benjamin? Yes. Okay, just go for that. Okay. I can see it. Can you make it larger by chance? Is there a way to make that larger? Even if it overcasts me, I don't care. Just because I have a hard time seeing it so far away. No, okay. All right, so that's okay. We're going to come in right here, and you can see that's the side front, and the dart is going to go from here, and it's going to go to the very front. That's a terrible drawing, but you'll get the idea. So see how it's coming from the side seam to the princess seam on the side panel, and then if you go to that piece number 6, which is the side back, it's this one right here. It's the same here. It goes from a wide and tapers to nothing, and wide and tapers to nothing. And you want to make sure that the two side amounts that you're taking out are equal so that the side seam still matches, and that will do it. And I'm telling you, knowing about this little secret weapon with I do this alteration tons, or I don't know if it's an alteration, but it's just a fix, and it is just amazing how it cleans it up. What I would recommend too is, even if you are you know, even if you don't think it needs it, try it, because a lot of times what we don't know is what it should look like, or that it could get better. And once you try it, you're like, oh my gosh, it's really better. I've seen it, I've done it, and then I've heard that reaction over and over and over. And part of the reason is because when there is a bust dart right in this position, I'm literally taking and making the change exactly where it should be. But when I take and make that change up to, and I pivot that dart up to the shoulder, which is obviously what we've done here, I lose the ability to be as exact with the fabric. And so to have extra fabric there is very common, and you know, it's not a big deal. So watch for it, be aware of it, etc., etc. I'm going to take that out because I think, are we have any questions on that? Is the cup size too large or too small? It's too small. I need a larger cup size. If I have to take those out, if I have to take in, if I have to put a dart in, then the dart that was there that was moved wasn't large enough. That's exactly what it's telling you. So the cup sizing that you picked out was too small for you. You need a larger cup size. Okay, is everybody clear on that? Questions? Yay! Okay, the next thing I've seen, and I've seen this quite a bit also, and I'm going to actually create it because it's not showing on this one, is when the bust is large, and anytime with fabric, when you're going over a bust or over a bulge of any kind, if the angle of the pattern and the angle of the fabric aren't, you know, it's pattern versus body, it's a match is what it is. And if they're not at the right time, at the right spot, then the garment will, and I'm going to simulate it so that you can see it. And I see it all the time. I mean, it's probably one of the most common problems I have. For a lot of women, if they have a gap under their bust, they don't care. But this is really a big one. And what it is, and it's when and I'm going to kind of, like I said, simulate it. It's when the garment is on, the center fronts are not straight. And what happens is they kind of bow out to a V. Okay, so they're okay here, but then they go wide out that way. And so a lot of women say to me, well, I don't ever wear my jackets closed. Well, I don't care. It still looks really bad when your jacket like makes a triangle at the front of your body. It looks like it can't close. So even if you don't want to wear it closed, those lines should still be straight. They should be parallel to one another, because otherwise it looks like the garment can't close. It just doesn't look good. I think it looks terrible. And you see women with it all the time. And it has nothing to do with their hips. It has nothing to do with their bust. Again, it's pattern versus body. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a dart right at the bust line. And that dart's going to go over to the side seam. And the dart is going to be, now, I probably shouldn't have put this outfit on underneath because you can see, I'm just going to take this off real quick. I put a little cami on underneath, but it's probably better that you can see a little bit better without it. So I'm just going to take that off. All right, so let me just show you that again. So you can see that the jacket is closer here and it's farther away here. And that's what's happening. And the fix for that, again, it's because the fabric is not changing directions like the body is. So there's just a difference of depth in the pattern versus the depth in the body. All right, so what you're going to do, and again, this is in the muslin, and this is why I would sew on these front pieces, is I'm going to take a dart right at the bust line, right about the bust line. And you can see when I do that, that just pulls that front right together. Just bam, easy, easy, easy. So remember our rules of draping. What we want when we drape is we want the garment to lay perfectly straight and not have to have that dart in it. So the two types of darts we always talk about is darts that end internally and then darts that end external, which is on a pivot point, which is on the edge of a pattern, in other words. So the kind of darts that end on the edge of the pattern, those are darts we don't have to sew in our final garment. And so we're going to take this to the princess seam. Now, it may not taper to nothing to the princess seam. In this case, it's not. So then just take it to the side seam. Just take it out to any seam that you can get to. And you can see now that that is hanging straight, and you make your adjustments to the pattern. Okay, very easy. Measure down, or else you could sew this in, take your pattern apart, and use this for your pattern. That's a good one to do also. Okay, so questions. Does a 1-inch shoulder pad make you look like a linebacker? No. Unless you are a linebacker, I guess would be the best answer I can come up with. You know, look, I've talked about shoulder pads for years, and shoulder pads have been given they're just so misunderstood. They're worse than, I don't know, they're just so misunderstood. The width of shoulder pads make you look like a linebacker. The thickness of shoulder pads does not make you look like a linebacker. In fact, it makes you look 20 years old. How's that? Shoulder pads make you look 20 years old if you use them appropriately. But to put them way out, yeah, they probably make you look like a linebacker. So they should go right at the edge of the seam. It should come straight up from your body. But the thickness isn't what makes you a linebacker. How wide out you have the jacket is what will make you look like a linebacker, okay? So just think about, is the jacket too wide for you? You can adjust that through the princess seam. You can make that narrower. So again, a princess seam is like a great tool. Does this apply to all types of fabrics? Of course. Wovens, knits don't make any difference what they are. If they're not, they still have to have the correct angles. There's a huge misunderstanding that knits, oh, you know, I don't have to have a dart in a knit. That's just not true. That's just not true. A knit can't change angles on its own. So we just somehow accept the gaps in knits a little more than we do in wovens, okay? Can you remind us where to place the shoulder pad? How far out into the sleeve cap? It should be a seam allowance, 3/8 of an inch out into the sleeve cap. So your seam is here. Your shoulder pad is just the seam allowance out. You've got your tie interfacing. You've done your sleeve head, and all of that stuff is in the pattern. You go to set it in, and it shows you shoulder pad placement. Okay. All right. So this is a fix that I really commonly see. Anytime we put on a garment, it goes out. Take right at the bust line, pinch it up, and you'll see how it just straightens out that front. All right, and I'm going to take those out just so that we can go to the next issue. And there's one other issue I want to show you, and then we'll open it up to just some fitting questions in general that you have. And you certainly can use the pattern, you know, again, because this has so many great seams, it's going to really, it's just really an easy fit. And y'all can do this, okay? All right, so the next one is, sometimes we have a hollow. And every woman, depending on how big busted you are, the hollow above the bust is a little different. So that's a very hard thing to guesstimate as a pattern maker. And so if you are making a size and it has too much fullness in here, just take that right out of the seam. Just pin it out, take it out. Don't overfit it. I see a lot of times when I'm first teaching women to fit each other, they just way overfit that section in there. It should not follow the, you know, the hole in your chest. It should bridge the gap, and it should fall in between. And so don't get just so tight on that the whole sleeve can't move, or that it's just too much. So just be aware. I've seen many women who have a tendency to overfit that area. They just take out and take out and take out and kind of want to scoop it exactly like their bodies. That's just not what we're looking for, all right? But you can make it narrow in the shoulder in the princess seam. You can do all that right through the seam and really have a beautiful jacket. Okay, this has got lots of great shaping. So those fitting tips I felt like would really help. If you take the darted center front, does the center front stay straight? Yes. And you can just make it straight. You're taking the dart here, you're changing the angle, so this portion is still straight. If it's not a little bit, you can still make it straight. Yes. What is the black and white fabric? It's just fabric that is mine personal. I know that's against the rules of silhouette patterns. I'm not allowed to do that, but it's just my fabric. I don't have it to sell. Does the pattern call for hem chain? No, it does not. But you can do that if you know how to do that. I mean, if you're aware of Chanel and what Chanel's done with that. You guys, if I can just talk briefly about a hem chain, you know, fabrics have evolved to the point where we use other things. It doesn't mean you don't like a hem chain or you don't want to use a hem chain, but just think about when Chanel was first designing jackets, many, you know, 100 years ago, whatever it was, the fabrics were, you know, just not even close to how we've morphed them today. So, you know, I think that today they still do them, but it's really in a tradition of Chanel as opposed to them being needed, because you could see if they were really needed, everyone would do them. And so you see a lot of jackets out there with no hem chain. If you use it and you find that you really like it, personally, I think they're way too heavy. I think that heavy jacket is really part of yesteryear. We don't do heavy anymore. In fact, women's jackets are light and beautiful, and the pattern and the fabric, they just make them beautiful. And you know, but it's all preference. When I pin out to account for hollow above the bust, does it go to nothing at the shoulder seam? It does. Unless you're trying to narrow the shoulder, you just take it to nothing at the shoulder seam, and it'll be nothing somewhere probably right at the fullest part of the bust. Those 2 points. It's kind of like a little concave dart. Convex dart. The seams would go to the outside. Okay, are we good with that? All right, so the goal here is to get this fitted and to have you gain confidence in it, because I'm going to take it and turn it upside down and show you so many fun things to do with this pattern. And all of these are really easy and quick, and they're not lined. Okay, so once you make your lined jacket and you've got that down, we're not going to line it. We're going to make, you know, because look, I love jackets. Love jackets, love jackets, love jackets. But I think, you know, even to all the business things I go to, I have plenty of jackets, and I love jackets, but I'm always going to rather have a new top than a new jacket. So I wanted to show you some options. Okay, so we're going to put this away. Oops. Put this away, and we're going to show you this, because I just fell in love with this. This is a jacket, don't get me wrong. But here, let's first, before we even do this, let's show some photos. Okay, so there are some photos I want you to see, and I don't know if I have the order right or wrong or whatever, but let's look at some of the photos. Let's look at 3. I don't know what 3 is, but let's look at 3. Okay, here. So this is what I kind of did here. I wanted to do a vest, and this is a great pattern to do a vest in. So we'll just go in this order. How's that? Let me pull this forward. 3's there. And actually what I did is whenever I go to a designer and kind of duplicate that designer, in this case it was Chanel, I'll go back to Chanel and I'll see, because I know within the same house, design house, they will use patterns repeatedly. They've already tweaked them. They've already put them out there. They know they work. It doesn't mean they don't do a few changes on them, but they have a tendency to use the pattern itself again, and then they'll just change up the fabric or the styling or something of that notice. So this in particular is a Chanel, so I went back to Chanel to see what they had done with it, and I really like this. Now this had a collar on it. If you notice, this one has a lapel on it. I just left it. I love this contrast here. This fabric is an ITY knit. This was so quick and easy to make up. You can see that I used now I know y'all never can see this really close up. This fabric, you can see it's 1902. We just put it up. And then what I did is I contrasted it with denim. So my goal here, the whole thing was I wanted to wear this vest like a pair of jeans, just kind of like you see in the picture. I wanted to be very casual, but it's a jacket. And I took away the shoulder pad. I did the armhole. I just left it. Once I took away the shoulder pad, I left the armhole because you know it's going to be bigger than what my t-shirt is. This is the cut up tee, which is what's underneath it, pattern 117. So even if I decide to take my vest off, it works. It's got this great pocket here. And let me just tell you a little bit about how this pocket is made. It's a welt, and the pocket goes between the princess seam and the side seam. So again, you can get a really nice looking jacket even if you feel like you don't have the sewing skills to do a welt just yet. We'll get you there. But even if you don't feel like you have those sewing skills, this just folds in half. The pocket forms by how you sew it between the two pieces, and then once you sew in the front and the back, the pocket is made. So it's really fun and really easy and looks great. So it gives you a chance to contrast here, contrast then the front. I used a double zipper. I absolutely love these zippers because they're an opening is what they are. They really work like a little closure. You know, you can, whenever I wear them, I just really zip them only a few inches apart from each other. So you have the bottom that's open, that's real casual looking, and of course the top. And this lays so beautiful through the neckline that I just love how it looks, and it's really nice. You could, if you wanted to, turn it back. It's got a facing there inside, and you could wear it that way as well. Either way that works. But again, it's very quick, very simple to do, and really easy. So this was our vest. Okay, are we good with that? Oh, what is a hem chain? A hem chain is just if you go inside Chanel jackets, and you know, I haven't looked at a Chanel in a while physically in the store. A lot of them don't even have them anymore. But traditionally, in order to get a jacket to drape, they sewed a chain, just a real fine chain on the inside. Originally, on Chanel's more expensive jackets, they actually used a 24 karat gold chain, which is what made those jackets that expensive. But then they got to where they did gold plated, and then they got to where they didn't even do gold at all. And then I think they've gone away with the chain. I don't know if they're still using them. I'm sure they are in some of their higher ended priced points, but they're not in many of them. Well, I know I had a jacket on the other day. I take that back. That was a Chanel, and it did not have a hem chain on it. So a hem chain was just, it's kind of like, you know, on a cowl neck, you put a zipper there and it kind of gives it a little bit of drape. That was the purpose of that chain. It was sewn inside to the hem of the jacket, and it just gave it some drape. So that was the goal behind it. As someone with a full bust, will you teach us sometime how to do a full bust adjustment? No, because I don't think they work. And what they do is they change length, circumference, and depth all at the same time. And I'm really into doing one adjustment at a time and understanding which one needs to be done. And having said that, let's just go back to this for a minute. Here, I'm going to put her away because we've kind of finished with her. And let's bring this out. Okay, so in this case, we talked about originally there was like a hollow here. When I did a dart like that, that dart did not change circumference. It changed depth, but it didn't change length, and it didn't change circumference. So I've not ever seen a case where you need all three at one time and it just happens to work. I'm sure it does. Some of you swear by it, but not a prayer. Am I ever going to teach you full bust, or bust, whatever it is, full bust adjustment, I think it's called, or whatever it is. Because if you notice, it changes circumference, it changes length, and it changes depth all at one time. And that's exactly what I've been doing for 20-something years to get you away from. Because all the years what we've done is we've had this domino effect. And when we've changed one, two others have changed. The whole idea of teaching you L, length, circumference, and depth is to get you away from that and to get you to understand how to have individual control and how to get exactly what you want. But first we have to recognize whether it's length, circumference, and depth, and then we go and apply it. But that method is not one that I would advocate, only because it doesn't work. Okay, if you're trying to make to take out the hollow in a top without a princess seam, how do you do that, please? There's other problems that's going on. That's too generic of an answer. So you can email me privately and let me know what pattern it is you're having a problem on, what pattern of ours. And let me just say to you guys, because I get, you know, we're growing and our growth is amazing, and you know, I love you all. However, I love you, but you know, look, I can't solve other pattern companies' issues. Please don't even bother emailing on them, because I just have to write back, I can't help you with that. And if you send me a picture, I can't tell you how to make the pattern. That I don't do either. There's a pattern making class. You know, I will answer fitting issues, and I will answer issues that we've done where I've taught you how to do something in YouTube and, you know, you have a question. But other than that, pattern making questions about other people's patterns, you need to direct them to the pattern company that they came from. I'm not familiar with those patterns. All right, so then let's talk about the other questions. Sorry, I missed those. Can you show how to lower the neck if it's too high? Yes, you just take your French curve. You guys know how to use your French curve? You're going to take your French curve. Here, let's go back to those pictures. I can just show them how on that. Thank you. Okay, so these are the little pictures, and we're going to go to the front piece. If you noted, that front piece is piece number 1. And we're going to come in here right at the neck edge. I think I did something wrong. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to come right there to the neck piece, to the front. We're just going to put the French curve right there at the base of the neck. And we're going to move it down to what we want. Now what you have to do is appreciate that you want to always ask yourself, why is the neckline too high? Is it because the back's pulling it back? Because it's just styling? And if it's just styling, you can lower it like that. When you do that, you'd have to adjust the neck piece that goes with it. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. All right, easy enough? Okay, the side seams of my 9's top slant to the back, but the back seems to have enough circumference. Do you think the dart? No, that 9's top is supposed to be that way. There's more fullness in the front. There's not as much fullness in the back. It's meant for those seams to go to the back, so there's nothing wrong, and I wouldn't try to fix it. That's fullness. There's more fullness. That's a style issue, so I wouldn't change that. What do you do for someone who has a smaller bust than a silhouette B on print? You don't. You don't. Make up the B cup. I promise it's not too small. Promise. See, you guys are asking questions before you ever even have an issue. And so you guys got to actually do it and then ask a question if you have a problem. Honestly, I've noticed quite a bit lately, we get paralyzed in anticipation that it's not going to work. It actually works if we just do it, but we don't even go through and actually do it. We ask questions before we ever do it. And so my newest email, it's like, just do it. Just do it. You know, good old Nike, just do it. What is the facing to the vest, i.e. the shape of it? Is it a duplicate of the blue band? Yeah. Yeah, in the pattern there's 2 of these. So, because their jacket, if you're making a jacket, it's faced with the same. And then the lining comes in this portion. So all I did was I left out the lining. This was already faced. And so then, because this particular piece was wider, the bottom piece, because there's no seam in it, I just stitched it down. And it's really beautiful. I mean, the inside is really beautiful. The neck is 2 layers also, because again, once I finished the edges and turned that band to the inside, I serged the edge, it was wider, and then I just stitched it down. There's a little top stitching all the way around, and it holds it really nicely in place. And those kind of things are really fun to do when you're changing from a woven line jacket to a vest, that, you know, the finishing can be so different than what the jacket is. It's a lot of fun. Okay, are we good on that? We got a vest? Okay, that was picture number 3, I believe, right? Let's bring up picture number 4. You guys, we've got some fun styling here. Okay, so I got sent some great pictures of jackets, and these are all $13.50. So I want you to look at them and see a great option, especially for fall, and all these fringe that's going on. There's so much fringe, there's so much fabric that has beautiful selvage to it. That is the jacket you want to use. So you notice the stripes are just lined up. They're not hard to do. You just take them all the way around the fabric and just line it up together. And it's just a beautiful look. And you can see how important, though, it is for those centers to go straight. You don't want them flaring out at the bottom. I don't care how thin you are. It just won't look good unless they're straight. So that's why I wanted to show you that. All right, then let's go to, which one's this for? Yeah, let's go to 5. All right, this is another one I wanted to show you because same thing. Instead of putting just the little pocket piece on there, you could put a flap right above it. You could just literally sew a flap above it. So at this side pocket piece here, you notice that that one's got a little flap, and I wanted to show you that because I thought that was just really cute. The other thing on here that I wanted you to see is that front, it's a zip up front, but then it's got a little flap that goes over it. That is just styling, you guys. You could just sew a piece, put the, you know, the selvage or the raveling of the fabric, and I just wanted you to see as a different option. Same thing, princess seam, pocket, same thing. The neckband, because there's no fit in the neckband, when you cut out, you can lay the neckband over, overlap the seam allowances, and you can cut this all as one. So you don't have to have the neckband. What I like about the neckband, and the reason I did it, and well, number one, Chanel did it, but I love how, what a neckband does is it finishes a print. It contrasts a print where you get a really nice contrast between, and it becomes a focal point. You know, you can see with what I have on, it all becomes a focal point. Okay, so then let's go. I wanted you to see that. The next picture is just the back of that one. Yep, there you go. And you can see it's just like the jacket. There's nothing, you know, different about it, but it's beautiful. Make sure you fit that sleeve. Notice how bent that sleeve is. That sleeve has a lot of shaping in it. And our two-piece sleeves allow you to do that. So just as a reminder, if you don't know how to do it, when you have a two-piece sleeve, your two-piece sleeve goes to the front. And, you know, again, it's tissue versus body. So if your arms are just more bent, for whatever reason, when you put the sleeve on, you're going to put a little dart right in the front of the jacket, right in the front of the sleeves. And it is, that little dart, it's a depth issue, will bend the sleeve more. And there's two seams. So the dart's at the front seam, tapers to nothing at the back seam in both cases. So it's the same as this side seam dart. Same thing, but it's going from the front seam of the sleeve to the back seam of the sleeve. And so it just means that your sleeve does not have as much bend as your arm, and you can do that. That'll do two things. Number one, it'll help it to hang straight. Number two, when you go to reach for something, it makes it so much easier because you're not fighting your sleeve. Your sleeve is actually going with you. So it's really nice. I think we've done this enough times that you probably have your sleeve already done. And keep in mind that all of the jackets and silhouette patterns have the same sleeve as long as they have a 1-inch shoulder pad. So you can just use the sleeve you've already done and just put it in this jacket. And then you can just make sure that the armhole's the same size after whatever changes you do. Okay? All right. So get a nice bent sleeve. And when I look at jackets a lot of times in stores, they're beautiful. I mean, the sleeves are shaped really beautiful, especially the high-end ones. Those sleeves are just really beautiful. Okay. Any questions? Are we good? All right, let's, hold on. Yeah. Where's the jacket supposed to rest on the hip? It looks cropped. Yeah, it's not on the hip. It's, you know, it's probably about 4 inches below your waist. 5 inches, something like that. That's all styling, but mine's about 5 inches. It is a crop jacket. It's not a crop. Crop is above your waist. So it's definitely not crop. It's just a short jacket. The look it should have is a 1-to-1. So when I have it on, I'm 40 inches from shoulder to hem. That's a 20-inch jacket. If I measure proportions and you want to measure straight, you don't want to go over a bust. Just literally measure from this portion to this portion. This is measuring 20. So 20 to 20 is the look you get. It's a 1-to-1. It's a really nice look. That's the look you want. Where in the jacket should the welt pocket be on the body? Above the waist, even with the waist? That again, it's all preference. Usually they're not above the waist because it's hard to, your elbows are at your waist, just an FYI. So it's pretty hard to get your hand in a pocket if it's above the waist. But at the waist is okay. On a shorter jacket, they're moved up a little bit to keep them in proportion. So this one is just a little bit below the waist. But again, you can change where you want that by lengthening the top and shortening the bottom and rotating where you want that to be. Keep in mind, these are probably not the most usable pockets. I mean, I'd probably put a hotel key in there, but I wouldn't put a lot. With wall pockets, personally, I don't put a lot of stuff in my wall pockets. Will the new fall patterns come out in September? Hey, you guys, let's stick to, yes, they are coming out in September. They'll be out in about 2 weeks. They're cooking, I always say. They're cooking, but I want to show you so much more stuff, you guys. How much did you lengthen the vest? This vest, I lengthened 5 inches. Okay? 5 inches. And just lengthen each piece the same amount. Okay, so I want to get to, you know what, I forgot the name of my designer. All right, anyway, let's go to this jacket. Would you, I think it's, no, let's not do a pattern right now. Let's not do a pattern. I mean, a photo, I'm sorry, yeah. So this is, you know, something that's in for fall is purples. Purples are really, purple is like the color of fall. So wines and purples, to me, kind of pass for the same color. I clearly know the difference, don't get me wrong. But a lot of times, when I'm seeing fall and they're saying purple, it's actually wine colored. So a deep wine and purple, you know, one has a little more blue, can easily kind of be interchanged if you like one better than another. So this jacket, I absolutely love this. This is a Ponte knit. It's got a little check to it. So what I wanted with this fabric was a casual jacket, a jacket that I would throw on with jeans. I just love this. I know you can't see the fabric and I know you can't see whatever. It is unlined. It's just a knit jacket, no linings, just I use the front facing again to put the zipper in between. I did do the pocket and I contrasted it with this beautiful, it looks purple, but it's not, it's wine, but it's a wine and navy and it's a stripe. It's going to be 1904. It's a cotton. It's a beautiful fabric. It's just not up yet. This fabric is 1903. I should tell you that. So there's some things I wanted to tell you about this because this is I used my knit armhole and my knit sleeve. So I took away the shoulder pad and drew on my knit armhole. I used the knit sleeve and I used the knit sleeve from 4218 and that is the sheath dress. And the reason I used that one is because that knit sleeve has a dart in it. And because whenever you're doing a jacket, the sleeve is closer to you, again, that elbow dart helps you move easier. You don't have to have as much circumference or as much ease to move, and that dart really helps you move. So the sewing of this was just absolutely gorgeous. It was so easy to do. Keep in mind that by the time you take the second layer and put it on the inside, you don't see the back of the zipper, so it's completely immersed in this front tab. So it's a great pattern to do a zipper up the front. And then I just top stitched right along here, and that holds that back facing in place. It holds the neckband in place, and it's got a beautiful pocket, and then of course a little neckband. I mean a little sleeve band across the bottom. So just take away that shoulder pad and don't be afraid to make just a great little jacket. I will wear it over and over again because I'm always looking for a jacket that's just maybe not quite as formal or that I can throw on with just a t-shirt and jeans, whatever. And boy, really, I love it. The fit is just stunning, just beautiful. I know you guys will get the fit just as much. Okay, then there is a designer, and you know, I wrote down the name. Oh, I'm so mad. I don't have it with me. But we're going to pull up the photo. And the photo, I think, is... Can I take suggestion on this stuff via email? Can I take suggestions on the stuff versus email? I'm not sure what that question's asking. Does this jacket allow to be lengthened? I do not care for short jackets. Yeah, I have the jacket on. This is the jacket. It's made out of an ITY knit, and you can see it looks nothing like the jacket. But that's what I wanted to show you. But I want to show you this picture first because I want to show you kind of where the inspiration came for. how do you make a zipper fit into the jacket? You've got a front facing and then, I mean, you've got the front piece and then you cut 2 layers of this. The pattern has you cut 2 layers and the jacket just pulls together, so it's perfect for a zipper. You just put a zipper right up there. When you get the pattern, look at it and you'll see that that's the case. Merlot, burgundy. Thank you, ladies. Okay, so all right, let's go to picture. It is I need my phone. The designer is on my phone. Huh? No, it doesn't have the designer name on there. Go to picture. It's number. I think it's 8. No, it's not that one. We've shown that one. That one. Okay, so this is a jacket. This designer's in Neiman's, and I want you to look at this. The designer has done a lot of one-offs, which means custom, for very high-end guests, celebrities, whatever you want to call it. And just a little bit ago, they started releasing a ready-to-wear line, and Neiman's carries it. And so I wanted you to see the back, and I'm going to turn around and show you the back because I duplicated that back on the back of this. And I'm hoping that it shows up. Does it? Does it show up on camera? All right, so I just loved it. I thought it was just absolutely beautiful. So we have that one to look at. I don't need to show you mine. And so then the front of mine, I duplicated that look also on the front, and I'll show you kind of how I did it. So now again, this is the jacket. I lengthened it 10 inches because I wanted a tunic. I wanted that effect, but I didn't want it on a jacket. And so that's where I stole the idea. That jacket is about $1,800 and it's beautiful. I mean, I was in Neiman's and saw it actually in Neiman's, and then I looked it up online. Now, a lot of what they do is leather work. I didn't want it in leather. I wanted it just kind of for everyday, more casual. And so I did it with the ITY knit that I have on. So the fabric I used, the ITY I have on is 1901. And then I used a black rayon knit, 509. You can use a knit because knits will react the same way with leather. But let me just tell you a few heads up on what you've got to do. You can see on the front there's these like curves here. And then the fringe down the front goes, you can wear it in or wear it out. If you notice on that jacket, it's long on one side and short on the other side. I did that same thing. Okay. Now, probably the only thing I would change on this, and I still can do this, is I would add in more fringe. I want there to be more fringe coming down the front. There was plenty of fabric, but once you slice the fabric, it kind of disappears a little bit. So it's not as much as I would want, and I'd kind of want to add it in through the front here. So, and you could just top stitch that in place. It'd be very easy to do. I will just top stitch it in place actually. Anyway, so what I did is the whole thing's knit now. So it's a black rayon knit and then an ITY knit. You can see the front is done. Everything's just like the jacket. But you just put these top, again, it's a knit armhole and a knit sleeve. I used my same sleeve from 4218 because I love my little 3/4 sleeve. When you are doing the back, notice that there's a couple things I want you to notice on this because I showed it to somebody who sewed and they said, oh, that's just, you know, fringe. No, it's not just fringe, and it has to be done in a curve. The pattern piece actually has to be curved because otherwise what I want you to notice on the lower jacket, can I put my pen on those pictures or no? Yeah, no, that's okay. Okay, so what I want you, I'll just verbally demonstrate it. If you look at the back, and if you take and notice the top of that, I'm going to call them strands. The top strand versus the bottom strand, you see how much longer the bottom strand is than the top strand. So what that means is the fabric, and when I did mine, my black, I put the pattern together and I cut a wide piece that actually went from the side on one side, curving over to the side seam on the opposite side. Now both of them are the same. So the pattern piece itself has to curve. I don't care whether you're doing it in leather, what you're doing it in. The piece itself has to curve. Then you can slice it and then it will lay in curves, just like the pattern piece. But you can't take a straight piece and then just sew it in two places. That won't work. That's the only thing I wanted you to understand. On the front of that jacket, there is a swag, I'm going to call it, this little swag that's right there. And that's the same thing is done with that. It actually goes from higher in the front to lower on the side, and that has to be shaped before you cut it and piece it, okay? The fringe does not have to in the front. That can just be long and cut and then pulled, and just make sure you go in the same direction for the fringe so that it gives you the effect you want. All right? And I love it. I just really, really like it. It's really comfortable. I really like how it looks. I've got black leggings on with it, and I just think it's really contemporary. How do you go down a size? Oh, did you go down a size for the ITY knit vest? I did. Not a size. I just went down a little bit. So sometimes I say a size. You guys literally think everybody can go down a size. All you want to do is figure out how much you want to go down, and then I just took that much off all of the pieces. But I did go down in circumference. Let me just say that a little differently. How did you make the zipper fit the jacket? If the zipper is too long, yeah, just cut off. Whenever you're dealing with the separating zipper, you always have to just take off the top. So I just cut it off on the top. I put it into the top of the fabric right here, and then I just did a little horizontal stitch just so that the zipper couldn't go off the end, because that's happened in my lifetime and I've learned. So you just put a little stitch across the top of the teeth, and then the pull can't go through the teeth. All right, is it sewn up the front? Is it sewn up the front? No, it's a zipper up the front. I'm not sure what they're called. Oh, the one I have on, is it sewn up the front? I'm sorry, you guys. We're talking about so many jackets, I can't keep them straight. Mine is sewn up the front, yes. What I did is I just took the two pieces that are here, and I just literally, instead of putting a facing to them, I just put them together and sewed them straight up the front to make one wide band. So yes, mine's a t-shirt. It slips over my head. Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's just really fun. Does the top you have on have shoulder pads? No. No. I took those all away. The designer is Noor Hamor. Thank you, Noor Hamor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are so good. Noor Hamor. Paris House is where they're located. Thank you. That was really nice, you guys. How'd you find that? You guys are good. But anyway, maybe you just knew it. Keep an eye on some of the stuff they do. They have a beautiful quality to their work. They're fresh. They're different. They've not been in ready to wear, you know, for a long time. Again, a lot of what they've done is custom, and it's beautiful. It's Noor Hamor. So it's Nour Hommor, Noor Hamor. All right, very good. And there's two designers. One is Noor, and I don't remember the other designer's name. But again, if you're around a Neiman's or whatever, they are in Neiman's, and the garments in person are just spectacular. So they're really lots of fun. And I love my back. I just love it. I just love the movement on this. It's just really fun. But again, I didn't want to do it on a jacket. It was a little bit too dramatic for me, but somehow on an ITY knit, I just really liked it. So, but I did want you to see where you get ideas, and you don't have to do them exactly as they are. You just let them sit in your head for a while, and then you see how they percolate and what they come up with. And we're getting really close to time. Can I answer any questions, or how are we doing on that? All right, so just so that you have the fabrics, 1901 is the fabric I have on, and the black rayon knit I think is 509 or 209. I'm not sure. I think it's 509. The blue and the black was 1902. 1903 is this deep navy Pontoroma. It's beautiful. And then 1904 is a stripe, and we don't have that on yet. We'll get that on. Could you tell about the skirt with the vest? Oh, this is really, I've been around for a while. This is pattern 2112, which is, I think it's one of our sale patterns, I think, at $12.99. I think it's one of our sale patterns, 2112. And so all I did was the top is just a black Pontoroma, and the bottom is just lace. Again, you know, we had that lace sale, you guys, and I'm glad that we had the lace sale. And the sad thing is we have not a bit of lace. Like, I think we might have a white left, but it's all gone. And I just kind of feel bad because lace is so strong for spring, but I called my vendors and I can't get lace because It's strong. I said strong for spring. I'm sorry. It's really strong for fall. I kind of cropped all those celebrity pictures so you could see that it's really a big trend for fall. Lace is really popular. So if you've got it, so many fun things to do with it. This was one thing. I just put it at the bottom of a skirt. Okay. You guys have good eyes. I didn't even know you could see that. I kind of just put it on so my mannequin wouldn't, you know, be undressed in front of you all. All right. So tomorrow, watch for, we are starting our Labor Day sale tomorrow. Watch for our Labor Day sale. We've got some great deals on just fabrics, actually fabrics. We've worked some, you know, you guys, the more fabric we sell, the better it is, because I keep lowering the prices because I can beat them up for prices because we're buying a lot of fabrics. So the goal is to get you great fabrics at the lowest possible prices I can. And so what we've got coming tomorrow is ponteromas and some really pretty colors of ponteromas, which make great jackets, by the way. And they're all smooth textured though. They're not any of this. And then also is the rayon knits. I love rayon knits. I love working with them. These all have a really nice hand to them. They're thin. They are thin, but what I like is they're beautiful to layer. And so we've got a beautiful selection of rayon knits, and so that's all going to start tomorrow. Alrighty? How wide are the strips? How wide is the curved piece? My curved piece in the back is about 5 inches wide. It's, if you look at the picture and go back to the designer, if you notice the strip is the width of the shoulder. So whatever your width of your shoulder is, mine's like 5 inches, 4 inches, and then you can curve it to the width of the side seam, make it the same. So just that whole curved piece, you're just going to take it off your pattern, but I would keep it the same here as is here. And then when you don't cut it before you sew it, I'm going to warn you because you know, it just gets in your way. So just sew it in and then carefully cut it after you sew it in. And it's just fun to have it on. What pattern did you say you took the 3/4 sleeve from, the navy zip jacket? 4218. It's the knit princess sheath dress. It's a new pattern for spring, and there's a dart in the elbow. And the whole reason I did that is because it gives you more movement when there's a dart. And I'm seeing it more and more and ready to wear. It was kind of so out of style for a little while, and it's really come back, and it's a goods trend. And so I wanted you to have a knit sleeve with a dart in it, because it should be at your elbow, and it just helps you move and bend a little bit. So especially when you're doing a jacket like this, if it's a one-piece sleeve, which is what I wanted it to be knit, it gives it some shaping that we were talking about earlier, that dart at the elbow. So it's a great little trick. All right, I think we're there. I want you guys to have a wonderful Labor Day and hopefully get a little rest from all of your labor. I think that's the goal in this holiday, right? To have a 3-day weekend. We are grateful for all of you. We really can't say enough. You know, I'm actually in town for a while, and it's time to catch up, and we've got so much going on. I can't even see straight. Someone emailed me the other day, and I said I would do something, and I didn't get it done. They said, you can't be that busy, and I thought, oh, if she only knew. I can be that busy. I mean, I got it done, but it's challenging lately, let me just say that. But anyway, you are all very much appreciated. Happy Labor Day. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns. Good night.